Hi. So in this tutorial, we'll be learning how to create a simple chart, right? Basically using all of this information. So what I'll do here is I'm going to select all of these and go to probably just have a recommended chart. Basically you can have a recommendation. Okay, this chart this is the kind of chart that's going to work for you, and this is the kind of charts, basically when you're checking through data visualization, you have to be careful what kind of chart you use for what, because based on the kind of chart you use, it's going to be able to give you some of the results. So in this case, I'm just going to go for the line chart, and if I don't want that, I can go back here and come to the line and then choose what kind of line I want, right? So I kind of choose what kind of relationship I want between all of these things. So but then I'm only selecting the first one, which is which is a little bit kind of normal. So I'm going to select this and then I'll press OK. So in this case, I have the sales and the profit, right? So the orange shows the profit, and the sales is the blue line. So basically walking through all of these contents here. So let's say for some reason I don't want to have I don't want to have the profits projected on this graph. So I can easily just come to this place and stay on the anchor and then have it out. So then I'm only showing the graph of the sales and how it goes. So obviously it's showing that we make a lot of sales in the year 2003, and and our lowest sales here is 2004, right? If I'm right. So then this is, if you want to also include it, you can definitely go ahead and include it so that you see how much of this relativity works and all of that. So this is how you create a chart basically. And you have a lot of features that you can add to these things. You can actually add a chart title, and this is the chart title here. So I can actually just double tap this and write a title and say uh, sales sales versus profit. I can have this one up. So there are other features that you can actually add to this. You can, there's a grid line there. You can disable the grid line if you don't want the grid line to be shown. Then you can also remove the legends, right? And let's have it up back. You can remove it if you want, but let's have it back so that it shows, the code. It shows the code for each table for each. Then another thing you can do is you can add the data table here. The data table just shows the preview of that particular table, and then have it displayed under. So, and you can also put in the data label, to actually show what values are this particular range and all of that. So, but to not make the whole thing look messy, I'm going to remove the data labels from that. And so, yeah, you can add the trade line, but let's not do that. So basically, right? So these are all of the things we can enable, disable, and all of those. So then, if you want to, do some design things, style your designs the way you want and all of that. So what I just want you to be careful with is that sometimes we want to mess around things with solid designs and all of that, and then it causes it to lose to lose concentration on what particular information you really need. So the more simpler you go, the easier it is for you to pick for you to point out things as easy as you want it, and then it's simpler and it's easy for you to be easy to to point out things. So another thing is the color, right? You can change the color scheme. One solid thing about color is that you want to be sure that the color scheme you're choosing they are well known and very, very distinct. You see in this case, when I choose this other color palette, you see it's almost similar. Like I don't know which one is blue, which one is green, and all of that. Of course it's obvious that this is blue and green, but it causes a lot of stress to the eye. So compared to this where it is distinct, you see the blue line and the orange line, you see them very, very different. And another thing is this monochromatic thing. You have to be careful while using monochromatic, especially when you have a large, you have so much value on the screen in your graph, and you still want to be able to plot all of these things. So putting a monochromatic means you will hardly find the color difference. Imagine this is a lot of colors, right? And everything flows in the projection of a monochromatic scheme, right? So these are the challenges you can face. So it's always good when you use colors that are distinct, and you can easily separate them, right? So other thing you can do is you can try to um you can try to alter the series and all of that. So like this place you have the sales and all this, you can actually edit all of this, right? So let's say I'm removing sales, then I apply it. that's a filter, right? Filter out sales. I don't want sales there anymore. So, but then I have to bring it back on. This is just like you filtering out things and all of these values. So let's say I don't want to see 2025 and 2024. Then I can easily just filter them out and see how the graph works. This is just the graph between 2000 and 2003. So, but I can have these ones back in. I can even apply this, but I don't want 2004. And you see how the graph comes. So, but then I need 2004 degrees. So that's where you see all of this relationship, right? So then the names, right? You have the row one that says on profit. You have this column A which shows all of these things. So you can really, really, check through it by knowing what you have to filter and all of that. So this is basically how how you create a kind of line chart like this, a very basic one. So, but then let me include our data table. So it makes the whole thing compact and very direct. It can stand alone on its own, especially when the data table is not so big. So you can easily just stand alone and you do a lot of things with it. So this is basically how you create a line chart, and then how all of the features from renaming it to filtering out some things and all of that. So you can easily do a lot with it, right? A whole bunch. So thank you very much.